Uncensored is a podcast where real-life coders share their stories, best practices, and talk about coding and beyond. Coders Uncensored, podcast real-life coders,
best practices,
coding and beyond. Coding and beyond. This is Coders Uncensored.
Welcome, coders and people. I go by Angel Gora. I'm what you call a professional coder. And my co-host today, not just today, every day, is Travis. Today, we actually had our very first technical issue. He has been having spotty internet all throughout the day. So we were actually leading up to this moment saying, you know what, your internet's fine. Xfinity fixed it. Don't worry, you got this. What happens? We run the opening credit and he drops offline. So now I have to really make this show very interesting until the very end, until he jumps back. Hopefully it's soon because he is my point man. On the meantime, I want to say thank you to everyone watching. Our topic for this week is actually going to be developing with WordPress. Now, I'm personally a WordPress developer. I think, not just a WordPress developer. I consider myself a full stack developer, but I do have a lot of WordPress experience just because that's the way of the world. It's a very large percentage on the internet where a lot of users or developers choose the WordPress CMS to host their sites, to run their sites, because it's easier for the clients or for the users to update their content and so forth. I am definitely on that bandwagon. It is the best. I really think it's one of the better CMSs out there, especially with the new release of WordPress 5, which includes React and React JS and Gutenberg. And yeah, that's essentially what I like about it and love about the topic, to be honest. So we are currently live streaming now on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Send in your questions, send in any comments you may have during the show. And towards the end of the show, I will ask the questions over to Lee, or if there's anything that we all answer collectively, we could do so. If you're listening to the podcast, you should definitely check us out next time. And if you heard that ding, yep, you're right. That was definitely Travis saying, holy shit, I'm not on the stream. What should I do next? So while we wait until he returns and jumps back online, don't forget to follow us on the podcast, even after the stream. We actually are live on, Google Podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Deezer, Spotify, all the major ones. So make sure to subscribe, leave a review. If we suck, that's okay. Leave the review too. I have thick skin, and I feel like as developers, we all have thick skin because we really do have to go through so much shit. We have to go through so much shit. We have to take so much shit. But before that, let's jump into the good stuff. I mean, my week has been hell. My week definitely has been hell. I've been, aside from, getting an admin group, handling all these third-party, websites that we're currently building between Travis and I think it's been one hell of a week. And I will say this is our first show that's actually on a Friday, and it feels so much better than recording this on a Wednesday, because I know that after I finish this, I can literally turn off the computer and just carry on with my day. And that is amazing. The only person I have to convince now is Travis, because Travis is like, fuck no, man, I want my Friday nights. But you know what? I'm going to convince him because I'm going to take him away from his Friday nights, right? But yeah, one of the main thing I worked on this week was I created a custom search app on WordPress. I was using the Gutenberg block, and I have to say that I was very, very, very weary at the beginning because I didn't really want to use the WordPress React script that you usually see from there. Not because I didn't want to, it's just I wanted to be more experienced in it. That's one of my faults. One of my fallbacks is that I'm still learning a lot of what WordPress offers in the back end when it comes to WordPress React scripts and so forth. Because I can definitely create React apps, whether it be React Native or React for Web, React JS. But once you start injecting WordPress, that's when it gets tricky. Trying to combine PHP and JavaScript is really one hell of a task. But let me go in and ask Travis how his week was. Oh, there you go. Welcome back, man.
What's going on? Yeah, got knocked out. Can you hear me good?
We could hear you good, man.
Yeah, I'm mobile. So you asked me about my week?
Yeah, how was your week? I was gonna ask you how was your week going?
It was great, man. Finally found somewhat of a solution to the problem from last week with WordPress. Working with the WP Quad, the Quad ad. So that particular plugin, right, where it has, it's like WP Quads for the ads. Sometimes it would show the code. Sometimes it would show exactly what you wanted on the front end. So the solution was to use the short code instead of actually trying to copy and paste the entire thing inside of inside the block when you were doing WordPress.
Yeah, Gutenberg.
You know, like the block,
the Gutenberg blocks. Yeah.
I was trying to use the whole thing and put it in the block, and that didn't work. So we just had to use only the short code, and that kind of was a solution for it.
Right, and that actually, that's one of the downfall. Not really downfall. I keep saying the word downfall, and I keep repeating that word. I don't feel like it's correct. I don't think it's right, but it's really on the responsibility of the plugin authors who created it. So, for example, WordPress Quad and so forth, like they should have this already resolved in an update. If I can't insert it on a post through their Gutenberg block, they got an issue and they need to address it.
And for me, I didn't know. I was trying to go to the Gutenberg block the whole time, wasn't working, or I thought it worked. Then we go to the front end, look at the website, and it just says insert code here, and it's not the actual code.
Yeah,
that's how we found out, right? On the website. I was looking crazy. Like I was like, oh, my bad.
No, they tricked us. They really tricked us. That was a really good was a bait and switch when they're like, you could add this in your Gutenberg block, and then fuck you, I'm lying. And then we had to do the short code.
I had no idea. I was like, I followed everything, just put it in, and it would look crazy on the front end.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But Lee, who is our feature coder this week, she actually is a WordPress developer, so hopefully we could get some answers and some ease on this part of it.
Right.
But let's actually bring her in and dig deeper into the topic. But before we do, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
Stay informed on health and laws regarding cannabis, from agriculture and business to entertainment and fun topics. Geek Cannabis is your online source for news and updates about cannabis, CBD, and hemp worldwide. GeekCannabis.com.
Awesome. So we are back. So with no further ado, let's introduce Lee. She is a cannabis-loving full-stack developer and gamer from sunny South Florida. Let's welcome Lee to the show. Let's bring her in. Lee, what's up? Welcome.
Thank you.
You got. I feel like I have to say I have to bless you with the honor of being our first feature coder where the feed drops on Travis, and that is major. That is absolutely major.
Right, I'm trying to imagine on the phone. It's like going in and out, so I can't hear everything.
Oh man.
That's okay, Travis, because what we'll do is we'll repeat ourselves twice, 3, 4 times, and it's going to sound fantastic on the podcast after. It's going to be fixed in post. Don't worry. So, Lee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I got into WordPress development like so many years. I feel like I'm going to age myself if I tell you.
Don't worry, you can't beat me. Trust me.
I started in 2004 when Cafe Log. So before WordPress was like a thing. So Cafe Log, it got forked by WordPress. So that's when I started using it. And let me tell you, it looks so different back then.
I bet.
Yeah. And that actually got me more into development. And then I was actually working at Walgreens for like 5 years, and I'm like, I am so done with this. And my dad told me, he's like, you need to go back to school. So I went back to school, got my bachelor's in IT, and and then I finally got my first job, and it was mostly doing a lot of like admin stuff, like cPanel work and setting up accounts. And then from there I just started doing more PHP, learning more WordPress, and that got me into JavaScript. And then I started, and then I got more jobs, like started getting advancing more. And then I was actually working at a A/B testing company, and I was doing strictly JavaScript, like no
Yeah.
WordPress. I eventually started doing WordPress when the boss, he needed somebody to work on the website for the company, and I was a WordPress girl, so that got me
You had to
back
go
into
in.
WordPress again, and I was so happy. But then I had to leave there because it was like we were dwindling down to like a skeleton staff,
Yeah.
and so I started looking for a new job, and the title was WordPress Ninja, and I definitely took that job.
Yes. Oh my God. You know how many posts I've seen with WordPress Ninja looking for?
Yes. So so I worked there for 2 years, and then I got another job. They laid a whole bunch of people off. Got another job as a WordPress developer again. And this job was mostly front end, but then ended up doing all the WordPress here. And I've been here for going on 3 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is quite an adventure.
I know. I'm telling you, I'm aging myself. Yeah.
So definitely thank you for that intro. So what we're gonna do in our next segment is we're gonna ask you some questions regarding WordPress. Are you ready for that?
I am.
All right, let's jump into it. Great, Travis. You want to start it out this week?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Lee. So you said that you have experience with WordPress, but you also said that you make WordPress themes.
Yes.
And I've had my share of difficulties working with WordPress themes and things like that. So how'd you get into developing the actual themes for WordPress?
So I, as I was advancing more and more, because I was just blogging before, and then I was like, but I want to do more. So I started downloading themes from Theme Forest, and then I started looking and seeing how they were built, and starting to just, break things just to see what would happen. And that's kind of how I started learning how to make themes. And then, looking up tutorials. But, back then, it was hard to find tutorials back in like 2005.
Wow.
It was hard. So
I had to jump in and say yes.
Yeah, so I had to buy books like this to help me.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought some WordPress books by Smashing Magazine, so those were helpful. And so that really got me into developing themes. And I kind of wanted to make I always wanted to put a theme on Theme Forest. I never actually did, because I actually got started, I had full-time jobs, so I never had time to make any. But that was what really inspired me, was looking at those themes, and I'm like, wow, people are amazing. These coders are amazing, and I kind of want to be amazing too. And so I just really got into mostly just custom themes. Like I actually started making them from scratch, and I realized I kept doing it over and over, like from scratch. And I was like, I'm going to make my own framework. So I made my own custom WordPress framework. And so that's what I start my themes from. Like I built it from scratch. I looked at sites, got information. I'm like, okay, this is the way it should be built, and it's been serving me for a while now. Like, and every time most of my jobs are WordPress jobs. Like all the jobs I've had for the past 5 years have been WordPress jobs, and so I always, because that's mine. I made that. I own that framework, so I use that when I start there, and yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I have a question, because it happens to me all the time. What do you tell people who usually look down or talk bad about WordPress? And
all
people
the
will say, "Oh, it's not coding."
Oh my God. I'm like, because you don't understand how to use it. That's what I tell them. Like,
Yeah.
WordPress is so, like, you should see what have we done at the company I work at. Like, instead of installing WooCommerce, we built our own shop, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. we actually integrated Shopify into, and didn't use any plugins, by the way, integrated Shopify into WordPress using our backend APIs. We have our own API set up on Amazon. I don't work on that part. I just do all the WordPress stuff, but I did all the integration, pulling all the Shopify products into ACF. So I use ACF to do this part.
Yeah.
I love ACF, by the way. Oh my God, such a lifesaver. Because making meta boxes the WordPress way is insane.
Absolutely correct. I cannot agree with you more. I am waiting for the day WordPress somehow acquires
Yes,
ICF and just
they
merge.
need to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's good. Let me ask you this, Lee. What would you say is the most challenging part of developing with WordPress?
So when it comes to like right now, I would say Gutenberg. When I started with Gutenberg, I started, because I go to WordCamp, I keep up with the WordPress stuff. And man, the documentation that they have for Gutenberg on WordPress's site it's atrocious. I'm like, who can follow this? It's ridiculous. Like, so and then at the time there was very limited, tutorials, and they were just basically all showing you how, put a text box in and an image. But I'm like, well, I need to do more than that. I need to see more than that. So that's challenging. And also, like right now at work, I'm trying to manipulate an ACF box, a text box, programmatically, just because they want you to just click a button and it updates all the ACF, the specific ACF field. I got that far. I got it to change the text box, but it won't update the post. And I'm like, I can't find a plugin anywhere that is trying to do something like this. So that's very challenging. And my boss is like, have you finished it yet? And I'm like, I'm trying,
Right.
It's hard. It's really hard. And I told him, I'm like, there's no plugins. I can't find a plugin that's trying to do what we want to do. And WordPress is, it's open source. So it's not like I could call them up and be like, hey,
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So that's my challenging part right now, actually.
So it actually leads perfectly into my question, which is now that Gutenberg has been maturing, because I remember when it first came out, everybody was dying and running around with like chickens without their heads. Now, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it was the correct approach, or was it the correct time to do it?
I think they kind of rushed it, honestly.
Yeah.
They really did. I could tell by the way they wrote the documentation. It was really terrible. It's still terrible. Like,
right.
Because their previous, pre-Gutenberg documentation is just amazing. Like, I use that daily. Like, I'm forever Googling their functions to see how to use them, and but with Gutenberg, it's so sporadic, the information,
That's true.
Yeah. So Gutenberg has been challenged. So what I've been doing is, thankfully, ACF has their Gutenberg, plugin to insert ACF into Gutenberg. So that's what we've been doing at work instead of building Gutenberg blocks. I did build one, and I was like, this feels like it's a lot for one little thing. Like, you're writing so much code.
I feel like we're really not proving the case about my first question of like, WordPress is the best.
When you said it, when you're like, oh, I should ask Lee, I'm like, I don't know much about that part. Like, I'm still trying. I actually bought where's my book? I bought a React for WordPress book and a course by Zach Gordon. I saw him at WordCamp. He's one of the very good teacher, like, for WordPress. So you should check him out for sure.
Will.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to do any of it because of work.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's my goal this year for sure.
Good luck.
good luck. Yeah, and as you can see, you're a professional, seasoned person with WordPress, and you have some issues. So what's your advice for someone new using WordPress?
I would say definitely pre-Gutenberg documentation is still very valid. definitely learn it. Learn PHP. PHP is like, if you want to build custom themes, you have to like know PHP, like get advanced with PHP. It's super important if you want to build. I realized that when I was looking at those Theme Forest themes, how advanced the PHP was that they were writing, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why I bought the book.
Hmm.
So yeah. So I would say I'm like an intermediate PHP right now. I'm finally getting into object oriented programming with PHP. Finally, it took a while to try to grasp and get my mindset into that object oriented design. So that's where I'm at now. So it's still so much learning to do.
Right. Great advice. That's great advice.
Very good advice. But I have to say that your path is literally the same path I did. Like, I
I
learned WordPress
know.
first before I learned
Yes.
PHP.
Yes.
Like, I was just doing ass code. And then I remember when I worked in New York, when I had my job in New York, the mentor, I feel like it was my mentor in coding. He goes like, you're writing like singular code. You can write object-oriented programming to be able to kind of, reuse. I'm like, nah,
Yep.
I do it once and that's it. One thing for everything. But yes, no, I love that. But yeah, let's jump over to the next segment, which is, to be honest, one of my favorites. So in this segment, we want to learn more about you, right? So we'll ask you a series of questions and you have to choose one. So instead of calling this or that, we call it if and if. Sorry, almost. I wanted to see what you're gonna say, but no, if and if.
Okay.
So, this is gonna be interesting because Travis has had actually some really good ones for you.
All right. So, classic editor versus Gutenberg. Classic editor versus Gutenberg.
I used to have it disabled, the Gutenberg one. I had it switched to classic for a long time, but now it's back. It's in the Gutenberg now because of ACF, thankfully. So that's the only reason why.
Yeah. My question is a lot more fun.
Right.
Not to take away from yours, Travis. PlayStation versus Xbox.
Xbox all the way.
Whoa, okay.
Yes. Let me tell you. So I had an Xbox 360. I didn't get the new one. So my husband I got him the PS, what was it, 4? And it has had all kinds of problems. I'm like,
Really?
never again. We're not. No. No, thank you. I miss my Xbox. I love my Xbox.
I have to say, I had the PS4 Pro, and that was way better than the PS4 regular. I will give you that.
Okay.
But I cannot for the life of me get into
Why?
Xbox.
Why?
I think it's because maybe I just like the games better, the PlayStation exclusives.
Well, that's true. I will give them that. They do have the good exclusives. That is for sure. But you know what? Xbox, Microsoft just bought Bethesda, so we'll see what happens, right?
I have no idea what that is. What's Bethesda?
Skyrim?
Oh, okay. Yes.
I have no idea what any of that is.
Travis, you got to get up on your game, man.
Honestly, I don't play, but my husband does, and because I'm more of an MMO girl. I'm not, into just a single player. So I'll watch him play. They are really good with their games. Like I look at the graphics and I'm like, that's really beautiful,
I do.
Yeah. I'm a World of Warcraft girl. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
All right, so next one, JavaScript versus PHP.
Oh, that's tough because I love them both so much. But you know what? PHP was my first love. So. But it's hard because there's so much more you can do with JavaScript. It's so much more fun on the page with JavaScript.
That is true.
Even though PHP brings the data,
Yeah.
So which one did you choose?
PHP.
PHP. I gotta say, I feel, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like the PHP code is a lot cleaner. Like I feel like I can read it a lot better than JavaScript.
Yes, it is. That is for sure.
Yeah. So my next question is my favorite question in the world: Sativa versus Indica.
All the way. My husband's thumbs down in me right now. He's an Indica. I all day. I mean, at night I do get a little Indica. I do buy it. because I do need it to sleep from the sativa. But yeah, all the way.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Travis,
Cool.
what's yours? Now I have to ask about
Yes,
you,
I'm
Travis. What's yours?
curious.
I actually don't know because I don't smoke that much, but I like edibles, so I don't really
Okay.
know. Whatever they put in that cake that I had in Oregon, and those those cookies in Nevada, and whatever that little sweet candy in New York was, yeah. So whatever they put
They
in that,
usually make edibles out of indicas are usually. I mean, they have sativa ones, but they're usually indicas. I've noticed.
yeah.
The
I wasn't
edibles.
asking them that. I was just like, okay, let me try that cake, that
Were you
cookie.
sleepy after?
No,
That's a
I
good
was
question.
just chilling. I was just laughing.
Maybe
Just-
hybrid. Could be
Yeah,
a hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do indica whatsoever. I think I did an indica cookie the other day,
Yeah.
and you can ask my partner. Like, she was like, "Yo, wake up." I was
Yes,
just
Oh,
exactly.
I was just glued to the sofa, and I couldn't move, and I was just
Yep.
there. Like, she could have had her way with me, and I would have known. It is crazy how it just paralyzes you.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
So many times, me and my husband have passed out like at 10 o'clock at night because we took too many edibles.
Yeah, I feel like when I smoke sativa or a hybrid, those are mine too. Hybrid or sativa.
Yes.
But I feel like
Yeah.
when I do, I still have functions. I can still get up and walk to the bedroom. With an
Yeah.
edible, that's it. Where I eat
Yeah.
it, where I land, that's it. It's a wrap.
Yeah, it definitely was nothing productive done after those edibles. I will say that.
Oh, okay. Maybe
I
so.
do
Maybe
remember
yeah.
Nothing productive was done.
Alrighty. So Travis, next question.
All right, so Code Academy versus Treehouse.
Oh, so I noticed Code Academy's changed their everything in a while. I started with them first, and I went to Treehouse, and yeah, I was sticking with Treehouse. So I like their just the whole UI was better. The lessons were better. You know, you were actually watching a video versus just reading something on Code Academy. You know, it was
You know, and I started with Code Academy and liked it, but that's one thing I was missing. I actually had to get that from Angel. He had to give me videos and stuff to watch.
Yes,
Because Code Academy didn't have it. You remember those YouTubes we had to watch?
Yeah, I
Like,
remember.
he had
I
to
remember.
add that into it because it was getting good and everything. And I was like, but and you have to send me some YouTube. So Treehouse has all that in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have to say with Code Academy, I remember because when Travis started with me, and I'm like, all right, Travis, let's do this. Let's go in hard on coding. He goes like, all right, so I did this course, but then the test is this, and the test had nothing to do with the course itself. I'm like, how did you? I didn't know how he was supposed to know what the answer was.
He was just looking at me like, "What do you?" I was like, "I finished the course, but it's not the same." We just started laughing, and then he had to like email me a bunch of YouTubes, and I was like, "I'll be back tomorrow."
So this is a message to Code Academy. If we tell them and they know, like, listen, upgrade your shit, guys.
Seriously.
Right, because I swore by them at first. I was like, "Oh, this is great."
Yes, me too.
Yep.
They were one of the first, so that's probably why. But they need to step it up.
That's very, very, very true. All right, so bong versus blunt.
Bong.
Oh, really? That was quick.
Yeah. I can't do blunt. It's something to do with the paper. It makes me gag. I just cannot do it. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I bought a bong. I mean, you see I feel like this is the one thing featured on my Instagram is usually this bong. And I don't know. I get choked up sometimes. Like sometimes with the blunt, I like kind of
because you can kind of take your time with it, Yeah. With the bong, you're gonna take big rips all the time. Right?
Yes, that's true. Like,
yeah.
That's like you don't sip on a shot, No. Like when you have a particular shot, you're not gonna sip on it.
You don't nurse it at all.
Do you mind showing off your bong to people?
If I can. So
go ahead. You just can't smoke out of it.
This is my rig. Oh, can you see it? There's my rig.
There it is. Nice.
Yes.
See, I'm sorry. It's a bong for flowers.
Yes, it is. Well, this one is for honey.
Ooh.
For concentrate. So.
Okay.
Yes, I just dab all. I smoke flower. Not as much as I dab, I've had flour for months now. I haven't bought flour in months because I dab so much, and I still
Wow.
have flour.
Man,
Yeah.
that's OG.
Yes.
So this is not actually a question. I kind of want to dig deeper now on this.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So when you smoke, a lot of people will tell me like, how I don't know how you can smoke and code at the same time,
Oh,
right? So people will tell me
yo.
that, and what would you say to those type of people?
So
And this is an impromptu question.
Yes, let me tell you. So when I was going to school for my bachelor's in IT, every time I studied, I got high all the time. And so my one database class I had, my midterm, I showed up late. I was high as fuck. And my teacher, no, it was my final. I didn't show up oh no, it was my midterm. I didn't show up the following week. So she told me that I told her, I can't make it. And she goes, it's okay. You got the highest grade. And I was like, oh, word. Yes,
Nice.
yes. And my
Nice.
final, same thing again. I was high as fuck. And I got an A. We got 4.0 for that class, basically. That was,
There you go.
and at the time, my partner at the time, he's like, I don't understand how you can smoke and study. That doesn't make sense. I'm like, I retain the information. For some reason, I'm retaining this information high as fuck.
Yes.
And I still do it to this day. If I'm studying anything, while I'm working, I'm high all the time. And I get home after I drop off my daughter, 9 o'clock. I do a dab, get to work, do a dab, work some more.
It works.
And I've solved so many problems, so many coding problems. I get high, especially at night when I get really high as fuck, get my headphones on. I have solved so many coding issues.
Yeah.
So many. And that's what I tell people. I might break the stigma because I am a high functioning stoner.
Love it.
Yes.
That is gonna be a sound clip. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm gonna create a 30-second preview of this, what you just said, and it's gonna be everywhere. I love it. Love it. So now we're going to kind of pivot over to Travis. Is this your favorite segment?
It might be.
Yay.
It's called Explain the Source Code. So in this segment, I did a little stalking on your social profiles, right?
Okay.
And we asked the simple question. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. I'm going to first describe it to the people who are listening on the podcast so they can understand what we're talking about. And then the only thing we ask is, what's the backstory? What's the source code behind this image, right? Okay. So let's jump into it. So the first image. So for people listening, there is an image here. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, over 20 books. Let's just say over 20 fat books. And these are Bible-sized books. So these are books I know for a fact, and I could bet money you skimmed through. Because if you read every single page on these books, I don't know. I don't know. I will pray to you. You will be my God. So that being said, what is the source code behind that?
So the PHP book, I read I would say about 60% of it. The JavaScript book, about 20%. Which other book did I see? The MySQL. So the reason why I have so many of those Bible-sized ones.
Yeah.
So when I was going to
church.
Yes. When I was going to school, they had us use that Murac. It's Murac. That's the publisher. So, and the book was awesome. I learned so much. So I, swear by that publisher. So I bought all the books they had, and so the MySQL book, I didn't really read much of that, and I lost I learned actual SQL, like MS SQL when I was in school. So that book, I read the whole book.
Wow.
I lost it. I had so many highlights and notes, and the whole book though, I read it, and I did that while I was high.
Of course.
So how often do you go back and reference?
Oh, all the time. That's why they're so close to me. Like the ones I reference a lot. So the JavaScript one I do, PHP one I do a lot too. I reference them a lot. Oh yeah. I would say maybe at least 5 times a month I go back to them. as I'll have like sometimes it's like a regex thing that I'll have to try and remember, and I'll jump in there, or nested as a nested loop I had to go in there for. I was like, nested loop. And then I had to nest something else. I'm like, you know what? No. We need to redo this.
Do you prefer to reference those books other than like Stack Overflow or websites, stuff like
Sometimes I'll reference a book first, and if I still can't get it, I'll try Stack Overflow to see if there's a better, more recent explanation, because these books they're a little dated, some of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So on to the next image to explain the source code.
Ah.
So in this picture, there is a little heart on the floor, and some badass boots. I'm assuming those are the name is escaping me right now, but they're the ones that are like
Martens.
Yeah, Doc Martens are like $400 for these for these type of boots. And you're looking down at the heart.
Yes.
Lee, explain the source code behind that.
So at the office, well, we don't have the office anymore. When I started working at this company, I was standing outside vaping. And I looked down and I just saw this, I saw this leaf that looked like a heart, and I was like, oh, but because I really love where I work. It's a great company to work for. So that's kind of why I was really happy that day. And I was like, let me take a picture of my awesome boots.
That's a leaf?
Yes, the leaf. I just saw it there, and of course, I edited it to brighten it up a little.
Emoji or something.
Oh no!
I thought that was spray painted on the floor.
It is not spray painted. It was a straight up leaf that I just I didn't even move it. I just stood over it and took it.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really thought that was graffiti on the floor. No. It says, I feel like in New York, every like kind of like block of sidewalk, just graffiti on the floor. And people do that all the time. So my mind went straight to graffiti.
Oh,
Right.
All right. So for the last image here, I think it's pretty badass. So I read the post, and this is a sweater that has some lights in it.
Yes.
And inside the sweater, there's green lights coming out from the bottom of the hoodie portion of it. Looking down, and then there is a great smoke work in your mouth. I assume it's leading into your nose to do one of those awesome badass tricks. So Lee, explain that source code.
I was actually trying to get some inspiration to fix some problem I was having at work. And I was like, put my hoodie on, because I made that hoodie, from sewn it in and programmed it and everything.
Nice.
So I put that on, and I was like, let me try some smoke tricks, and because I've been trying to work on my Bane for a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And then it just got, and so I don't know why I was doing this. I would never actually record when I smoked. I was like trying to take pictures like a dumbass, trying to take pictures as I'm smoking. And I'm like, why am I doing this the hard way? So I learned, I was like, actually, I just figured it out. I'm like, I started, because I have an Android, by the way. I don't know about you guys, but I love my Pixel. So Google finally, you can edit videos and export, screenshots of them. But you couldn't do that before. Yeah. That's why I was doing it that way. But now, learned that, so I can get better smoke shots.
All right, that's a nice shot though, for real.
Thanks.
It really is. And I do have to say, I have an Apple phone, I have an iPhone, but I am counting down the days before I go back to Pixel.
Do it.
I did it by accident, and it really truly was an accident, because I had dropped my Pixel 3 through a sewer, and I needed to get a phone ASAP. And I was waiting for a phone call. I'm like, no, we need it now. We need a phone now. And the only thing they had was this iPhone.
Oh, bro. My God.
Now, you're not going to sit here and talk bad about us iPhone users now. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Don't
but,
do that now.
I'll say it.
Say it.
When I see you know what time it is, right?
Bro, iPhone users are bitches, bro.
Man, only somebody who's such a bitch like an Android user. When I see that little green bubble pop up when I text them, I just don't even know how to feel. I'm like, you know what?
Look,
it's not gonna work out.
It's so pretty though.
Look at that.
See this? It's beautiful.
I'm sorry, the resolution was just I couldn't.
You make me put in the resolution now.
I'm fucking with you.
That's
I really think
awesome.
it's just different types of people like different
It's
types
exactly.
of,
Yes.
That's
okay.
true. I have noticed that a lot of coders, real coders, tend to go towards androids.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is what I have to look forward to is as I get years under my belt as a coder, I will start to be less and less of a real person, and then I will let
Yes.
Android.
That's exactly. Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah.
I may have to rethink this.
Oh no. Much love to all the Apple users out there. You guys are definitely the people who are keeping a lot of people at work around the world, but Androids are better. That's all I got.
Moving along.
So we have reached the final part of our broadcast. We are. First of all, I was going to say thank you for being here, but there's actually no full segment left, so I don't want to jump the gun. So throughout the show, we've been getting kind of comments here and there from Twitch users, from YouTube users, everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of them, some of the comments, and then I'll end up with the questions. So a comment real quick. We back. Another comment. Hashtag WordPress. Do you ever use hashtag WordPress actually?
Yes.
I think the first time I've ever used hashtag I do hashtag as in SNL. SNL was the one that taught me that hashtag. I've never used hashtag WordPress until I started throwing posts with you on Coders Uncensored. So
okay.
I know that's a random thought, but that was it. We have a lot of name calling like Travis and Lee. So one of the questions here says, question for Lee. Which strands of cannabis would you recommend for coding? And I'm going to give you the spotlight. I want you to go all out on this one.
So I use sativa, Jack Herer. That's one of my favorites. And if you can, I can never find it, but it's called Green Crack. That's another sativa strain. It's so hard to find. Like they'll have it every now and then, but those are my two go-tos for sure.
Nice.
Or Dutch Hawaiian. That's another good one.
Dutch Hawaiian. I feel like this is going to be recorded, so I'm definitely going to be referring back to this. I had to say that my guy actually hooked me up with some Skittles with a Z in the end.
Oh, Z Skittles. Yes, those are good.
Oh, that's how you say it?
Yeah.
I've been calling it Zittles this entire time. So that's amazing. So the next question is for an amateur gamer, and this is actually coming from Twitch. So now you get Twitch question.
Nice.
Right? For an amateur gamer, which game would you recommend? You know what? Let me throw it up here. For an amateur gamer, which game would you recommend that is fun, multiplayer, and confused emoji? And then I've never learned the sex emojis.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's
girls,
male or female.
Maybe? Yes, that's a female. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, I sound like an idiot there, but and if that makes any sense, laughing out loud.
So I honestly would recommend World of Warcraft. You don't have to be a hardcore gamer to play. You can be a casual gamer. You don't have to go too crazy with it. That's how I started. I started casual gaming, and then my husband he's like, you need a raid. And so we started raiding, and I love raiding now. We raid we can't raid all the time because it resets every week. So we'll do one raid one night, but we'll save the good raids for Friday night because my daughter stays at my parents on Fridays. Thank God. Because we can't game if she's home. She won't leave me alone. Yeah.
I do love the fact that you actually have these date nights with raiding.
Yes,
that's so cute. That's adorable. Yeah. That is so damn adorable.
Yes, it's good to have someone that you have a lot in common with, and we both love gaming. And he is super gamer though. He plays all the games, but I love raiding. So, and he really pushed me to start raiding because I was afraid. I was like, no, I'm gonna die. And he's like, so you're gonna die.
I think my partner's the same way. She actually I forgot what game we were playing. Wait, it's coming back to me. All right, so it's an open world game. Are you coming? Spider-Man. Spider-Man game.
Okay.
She would swing from one side of Manhattan to the other side and never get into any encounters with any of the crooks. If she was Spider-Man in real life, the crime in New York City would remain the same.
Not saving nothing, huh?
Saving shit. She saw people getting mugged. She just ran past them.
Right. She's like, screw that.
Yes. So this unfortunately comes to the end of our show. Lee, is there anything you want to say? Any plugs you want to plug in? Any family members you want to say hi to? Anybody you want to curse out to? This is your moment.
I guess I'd plug my Instagram, if anyone wants to follow me and my antics, and that would be fun. And definitely check out Zach Gordon. He is, I don't know him, but his books and his lessons are really good if you want to really get into WordPress, because he gets into the back end of WordPress. So definitely check that out.
That is very awesome. So I want to thank everyone for watching, everyone who was tuning into the live stream, whether they be in Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Thank you so much. Every time you guys watch here, I don't know, it's cathartic for me. This is more than just a live stream. This is a great time. And a lot of coders kind of just code behind a laptop and they don't see people in the wild. So being able for us to provide that platform to people is a blessing. So I really want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks to our sponsor, Get Cannabis, and thank you to our featured coder, Lee.
Yeah, thanks you. Thanks for inviting me. I had so much fun.
Yes, and tune in next week with our next featured coder.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all next week.